Hey you, in this video we are going to be doing web scraping with Python using libraries like Beautiful Soup and requests. This is something that is very useful whether you are a beginner or a professional developer. These are essential skills that almost every person needs. So let's get started. This is going to be a fun little project, and this was inspired by dataquest.io. It's not a sponsored video or anything, but I looked at one of their tutorials and they are doing a weather forecast. So I was like, hey, we should also just do that weather forecast, except we're going to be doing it for LA because that's where I live. So we're going to go to forecast.weather.gov. So that's number one. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see very clearly. And I'm going to type in Los Angeles. We'll hit go, and this is what pops up. So what we're trying to do here is we want to pull this data. We want to put it into an Excel spreadsheet. You could also put it in Pandas data frame if you know what that is, but most people know what an Excel spreadsheet is or what a CSV file is. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing web scraping here. It's a pretty cool thing to learn how to do. So let's jump right into it. First of all, for really basic stuff, you have to know basic HTML. We're not going to cover too much of HTML or CSS in this video. But, for example, if I write an H2 tag, I have CodePen open here so I can just show how HTML works. If I do H2 and I say, hey guys, like that, and I do this, it'll type in, hey guys. Now, if I do H6 tag, right, it'll make it smaller. So these are this is HTML. This is basics, very basic use of it. And now what we're gonna do is, because I'm on Chrome, we're gonna hit inspect here and dive deep using the Chrome dev tools. It's a very powerful way to learn the structure of the website that you want to scrape. You want to abuse this tool, okay? Use this tool a lot, the Chrome dev tools. So now I'm going to hover over, and essentially what I want to do is I want to be able to get this week's forecast. So I want to be able to find out what the weather is tonight, Sunday night, Monday, and I also want to get the descriptions of it, and I want to get what's the low and what's the high, be able to put it in my Excel spreadsheet. So let's do it. So first of all, I want you to click this button over here, okay? The shortcut for this is Command-Shift-C on a Mac, or you can just come over here, click. This allows you to highlight over each thing, and then it tells you what element it is of a HTML or CSS file. So it goes, okay, this is an image element. As you can see, it says img dot, something. So that dot pull left is a CSS class. So let's go over here and check this out. So it looks like we have a container here, but this has an ID. We have a div here, and this has the ID of 7-day forecast body, which is very good, which is exactly what we need to leverage here. So let's go ahead and use this, because we know that once we have access to this, we will have access to essentially everything else that's within this div. So let's go to our code. Now, you're going to need a few modules installed, and I'm not going to walk through the full process of installing them because, again, those could turn into their own videos. So let's go here, and first of all, you need to install pip install Beautiful Soup 4. So that's step one. Another thing you're going to need is pip install requests. That's how you're going to make HTTP requests to the websites. And then you want to install the last one, which is pandas. All right. Because I've already installed them, for me it says requirement already satisfied. For you, it's going to take you through the installation process. If you run into errors with the installation process, look up how to overcome them. Then once you solve it, come back to this tutorial. So once this is installed, let's start writing some code. So first of all, we're going to do import requests. And I'm going to also say from BS4 import Beautiful Soup, like that. All right. And now essentially what I want to do is request this URL. So I'm just going to copy this URL right here. I'll go here and I'll say this page is equal to requests dot get, and then I'll pop in that URL right there. We'll also create a soup object out of that page. So that requests thing that we just got, we're going to use that to create a beautiful soup object. And what beautiful soup allows you to do is makes the web scraping of the page really, really easy. It gives you nice structures. It's able to find classes. It's able to find paragraph tags. It's able to find headers, and it understands CSS and it understands HTML. So it makes your life a lot easier. That's why we're using beautiful soup. So let's go here in soup and go beautiful soup. All right. And we'll say page.content. And then we will say, and we'll give it HTML parser. Okay. So it'll know that it's HTML, and so it needs to parse it as an HTML page. All right. And if I print this, we should see something pretty weird. So I'm going to run this piece of code. I'm going to go here, hit run. All right, so it says, couldn't find a tree builder with the features you requested. HTML parser. Do you need to install a parser library? Oh, yep. HTML dot parser, not a hyphen parser. So we have, now let's try it again. We will run the code. Okay, so it looks like it worked. And as you can see, the soup object is all of the HTML code that's on that page. It's pretty much the source code of that page. So if I go and I right click and I go view page source, it's essentially this whole thing. All right, so it has access to all of it. But what's cool is that I can do things like .find all, and I can go find all of like the A tags, you know, find all A tags, for example. And if I run it, it's essentially finding all of the links. So it's finding the NOAA.gov link that's there. It's finding the weather.gov link that's on that page. It's finding the commerce.gov link that's on that page. So all these links, it's able to find them, right? If I do .find images, or if I do .find all, you know, short descriptions, it'll find those as well. So that's what's cool about Beautiful Soup. Makes your life really easy. So let's go ahead, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a variable that has this entire div stored inside of it. That way we'll have access to this div is what I'm talking about. We'll have access to that div at all times. So let's go to our code here, and I'll say week is equal to soup.find, and we'll give it the ID. And the ID, what is the ID here? The ID is 7-day forecast body. So because I don't want to make a mistake, I'm going to click here. Once I click here, you can see at the bottom it's highlighted this line. I'll go to the ID and I'll double click. I will copy this. I'll come back in here, paste it. So I'll make sure that this way there are no spelling errors. As a programmer, I know sometimes you want to do things quick and just type it out, but the reason why you want to paste is not so you're faster, but the real reason why you want to copy paste as much as you can is so you're accurate and you don't make mistakes. That's why I took the time to copy it. Even if it was small, like if it was 3 letters, I would still copy and paste, because it has happened to me so many times that I'll make like a tiny little mistake, like the one I made up here with HTML.parser where I wrote a hyphen here. All right, so we have this access to this week. Let's first of all print it out. Let's see what it shows us. So we'll run our code. All right. So basically now what it's doing is showing us everything that's inside of that div. That's all it's doing. That's all it's showing us. Okay, now it's not showing us the entire HTML page anymore. It's just showing us that. That's all we want anyways. We just need access to that one div. So what do we do next? Well, now what we want to do is we want to access all of those objects or items, whatever you want to call it. We'll just call them items. So I'm calling this item number 1. What I'm highlighting here, this is going to be item number 2. This is going to be item number 3, item 4, item 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get the idea. Okay. So if you notice, each of these is a list item. Okay, so in HTML, a list item has a tag of li, and an unordered list item has a tag of ul. So you can see it says li here. And how we can access all of these by either using the tag li, or we can use the class forecast tombstone. So let's say week.find all, and let's just try li, and let's see what it gives us. Maybe we'll run into an error, maybe we won't. Let's find out. So when I hit li, actually, let's comment this line out. All right, so when I hit li, I get a lot of things. Okay, and now let's actually do, instead of li, what we'll do is we'll say .find all, and we'll say look for a class instead of that li tag. So we're gonna go class, and the tricky thing in Beautiful Soup is you can't just say the argument as class, because that means something special in Python. So you got to do class underscore like that. So class is equal to, and then we'll say tombstone. Actually, we'll copy it so we don't make a mistake. So I'll click here and I'll go forecast tombstone, and we'll paste it just like that. All right. Actually, maybe that there is a better thing that we can do. So let's go. All right, so we have a div actually that contains all of these items. I missed this div. So this div actually contains, it's a tombstone container. So it actually contains the blue part is what it contains, right? So you can see that it contains the, where it says Sunday. It also contains the image. It also looks like it contains the description where it says chance showers, and it also contains the temperature, whether it's a low or a high. So let's actually access the tombstone container class. All right. So we're gonna go class, and instead we're gonna say we're gonna go tombstone container. If it lets me highlight it, it's kind of tricky to highlight it. It's pretty secret. Well, let's just click here, and then let's dig a little deeper, and this is the tombstone container right there. So we're gonna say get all of those guys. Okay, and we're gonna say get all of those guys. Okay, so let's go boom, boom, do that, and close this out. And this we will call items. Okay, this we'll call items, and then we'll also print items. So let's run this code now. All right, so you can see we have a list, and each item in that list is essentially one tombstone container. So let's say that I get item 0 in that list, the first item, index it by 0. I get one tombstone container. So what is that? It has the period name, which is tonight. If I go here, you can see it right there. It says tonight. The next thing I should see is this. So if I hover over here, this is the, notice the paragraph tag in the CSS class here is period name. So when I go here, I see class period name is tonight. When I go here, the class here is short description, short -desc. and it should say slight chance showers. And when I go to my code here, so this is the image alt tag. Let's ignore that. Let's look for the thing that we're searching for, the short description one. All right, so the short description here says slight chance, right? That's what we were looking for. And slight chance showers. And then we also have the temperature class. All right, which is this one right over here. So that's what each item is, right? So each item in that list will give you, man, it's kind of annoying because you can't it's hard to select that. But each item is essentially that tombstone container class, this guy right over here. Okay, tombstone container, boom. Boom, tombstone container, the second one. All right, so now that we have that, what we're going to do is now we'll find, what we want to do is get all of the period names. So where it says tonight, where it says Sunday, Sunday night, we want to get all of those period names and be able to put it in one column. Then we want to be able to take all of the short descriptions and put it in a description column. And lastly, we want to be able to take all of the temperatures and put them in a temperature column. So each of them is going to have their own columns. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I will do here is I'll say for items 0, let's first of all just get that item's period name. So I'll do class equals, I remember the class name was period, so I'm going to just put that. And first of all, let's just print this guy and let's see what we get. We will comment this out. So when I print this out, I get back this p tag. But what I really want is the text that's in between the tags. So what I can actually do is, because it's a beautiful soup object, I can just go and do get text like that and run this. And when I run it, it gives me the text that says tonight. Now I can copy this line, paste it, and essentially just go and change the class name here to the next class, which is short description. So I'll do short description like that and get its class. I'll run it, and now it should say tonight and slight chance showers, which is what it says right there. And then last thing I want is temp. So I'm just going to call it by the temp class, not temp low, because this is temp high, this is temp high. So we're just going to get it by the more general name, so it works for every single tombstone container. And we'll go here and we will simply say temperature like that. And when I run it, you will see that I get back those three things. So now that I'm able to access all of those three things from the first tombstone container, now it's very simple. I just have to collect all of them in a list and then just run a for loop, right, to be able to access any of them. So let's just go ahead and put them on all. Oh, sorry, it's already in the items list. So items list already has them. Right now I'm only accessing the 0th one, which is in human language the first one. Now all I need to do is write a for loop that goes through all of those items. What we're gonna use is list comprehension, because that's cool. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say period underscore names is equal to, and I'm gonna say item for item in items. Except what I want to do to this item is I want to dot find its class and make sure that the class says period name. And then I also want to get its text. All right, so I want to find, oh, made a mistake here. Just didn't write the equal sign. That should work now. All right, so this is a list comprehension that essentially says, hey, for each item in items, as you loop through it, just do this to it, and that'll essentially get me back the period name. Now what I'll do is I'll print period names so you can see what it is. It's right here, this line, and right, all it did was loop through and just collect period names. That's what we want. Okay, so that's done. Now the second one that we're gonna write is gonna be short descriptions. So we'll do short descriptions, and we're gonna say item.find. So it's essentially gonna be the same thing, right? So what I can do is I can just copy this guy, come over here and paste it, move it up, and then bada bam, bada boom. And we'll come here, and instead of that, we'll say short description, and then I'll copy paste this, and I'll come here and I'll say temperature, and I'll change this to temperatures. All right, so all of these now get us everything that we want. I'll print these out as well for you so you can see what's going on. All right, I'll run this, and you can see now we have 3 lists with what we want, and that's exactly what we needed. And now I'm going to show you something really cool. Initially, what my instinct was to write it to a CSV file. Well, you have to do a little bit of coding for that. It takes some time. It takes some Stack Overflowing. It's kind of obnoxious. There is a beautifully elegant and easy way to actually write this to a CSV file, and also to do data analytics with it using pandas. So let's use pandas here, and it makes it so easy to turn this data into a table that you can then actually use, manipulate, and do stuff with. So let's do that. Let's go up at the top, and remember at the start I told you install pandas. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go here and install pandas. I believe P comes before R, so let's do it like this, pandas as PD. And now what we're going to say is we're going to say weather stuff is equal to pandas.dataframe. And what data frame takes is actually a dictionary. All right. And we are going to say period. So the column is going to be called period, and the values of it are going to be period names. So it's going to be this list that we made here. And then the idea is essentially the same. We're just going to repeat that same process, and we're going to say the next one is going to be short descriptions are just going to be, oh, comma goes here, going to be short descriptions. Okay, and then lastly we have temperatures, which are just going to be temperatures. Oops, comma. Make sure you have all the commas in the right place. All right, that is essentially the dictionary. That's a much better way to actually write the dictionary. So yeah, that's the dictionary. We got our data frame. We put our column names. These are the values that go in that column. So that entire list is just going to go there. The entire list of short descriptions is going to go under the short descriptions column. The entire list of temperatures is going to go under the temperatures column. And one little trick I want to show you guys is you can put a comma here. It won't give you a syntax error, and it's just a good habit to get into, because then if you ever go back to that dictionary and add more things, you'll never run into an error. So just a good code hygiene. And if we print this out now, let's see what this might look like. So let's print this out. So you can see that pandas actually turns this into a really, I'll comment all the other print statements out now because we don't need them anymore. And you can see what it does is it turns it into this beautiful looking table, which you can now take a look at and do stuff with, and figure out the means and figure out the averages and all that kind of nerdy stuff. But we're not going to get too much into that because that will be a whole nother video with pandas. Our job is not to do that. We are just learning how to do web scraping. And to make this data useful, the last cool thing I want to show you that makes it all super useful, really handy trick, is this awesome feature that Panda has. So I can just do weather stuff dot to underscore CSV. All right. It has this beautiful thing you can do, which is just called .to CSV, and then just give it a CSV name. So we're going to call it, let's call it weather.csv, and I'm going to save. I'm going to run this, and right when I run it, I get the CSV file over here, which looks like this. But let's take a look at what it looks like in our computer. So we will go here, and I will hit that, and boom, look at that. It's looking super nice, super fresh, and you can see the entire data table right there. I can also open it up in Excel if I want to. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Right, and you can see we have our column called period with all of this data. We have short descriptions with all of this data, temperatures, all of this data. So that's so freaking cool, right? We just created a CSV file from scraping the internet, scraping something online. Now, you can just take that URL and pop something else in, and that'll also work. So for example, forget Los Angeles weather. Maybe we can look at the weather of, say, Chicago. So let's type in Chicago here, and we will hit go. Hazardous weather outlook. Wow, wind advisory in effect. So that's pretty scary, huh? So let's go. Let's copy this. And for you, it might look different, right? Because you might be doing this video following the tutorial at another time. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste the new URL. All right. I pasted the new URL here. And now let's run this code. And we're going to go take a look at our CSV file now. Don't save. And view will be 300%. And take a look at this. Now the data is completely different. Right now it's the Chicago's temperature. So if you were making a web app, you could use web scraping to use somebody else's website to dynamically generate stuff on your own website. Pretty powerful stuff. All right. Hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. That is all I had for you today, but I do want to say that we have something very special coming up. So again, if you are a beginner or you are a working professional developer, we have a new program coming out for you called How to Automate Stuff with Python. So whether you're looking to land your first job and ace your interview, or you are looking to get promoted at your current job, or maybe you're trying to become a freelancer who kicks ass, this brand new course will give you all of the essential skills that you need to make that happen. This is something new that we're working on. It's going to be coming out soon, but in the description below, we have the link to the page for the course, How to Automate Stuff with Python. And it will go deep dive into these things and much more. All you need to do is just pop in your email below. I will also send you a free gift once you put in your email below, as well as once the course is out, you will be the first one to know. So go ahead, pop in your email below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you enjoyed this and you want to keep seeing the new tutorials that are going to be coming out, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. With that said, thank you so much for watching. As always, this is Kazi. I love your face, and I'll see you in the next video.
Going all day.